July 12th, which is going to be Saturday Night Main Event, and then July 13th, which is going to be WWE Evolution. We're going to get predictions and previewing both cards and both matches and kind of seeing where everybody stands afterwards and where we're going to go from here, which has been already a pretty hectic WWE calendar, which is even going to get crazier with SummerSlam coming up soon and Clash of the Castle next. And look, I'll say this, like, I think we're having a bit too many of these PLEs, and I'll get more into when we get to the Evolution card and why that's kind of been hurting recently. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's start with Saturday night's main event. First, again, July 12th. We'll go kind of what I think the match order is going to be. We'll start with Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. This has been kind of a match that's been building up for a while. I don't really have much to say on it. I think it's been a decent feud so far. I think both guys are great on the mic. I don't see LA Knight winning this. It's just, it makes so much more sense for Seth to kind of win and get interference, and maybe Sammy will come out again. Maybe we'll see Penta come out again. I think this will kind of set the stage up for something later on. Maybe something at SummerSlam where we get like a tag team match or for maybe a title. I don't know. I think eventually we'll see some iteration of these four or these three interacting again. But I think Seth wins interference. LA Knight continues to be LA Knight. I think the big thing with Seth and his group is that we're waiting to see if there's going to be a fourth member. I think that's kind of what we're expecting. Who it is, we'll have to find out and see. I think we're all kind of thinking it's going to be Sammy. We'll see. And I think overall, like, it should. I think we're building up to like a War Games-esque event between these two groups. If Cena doesn't decide to go to War Games, which we don't know yet, but anyway, that's way down the line. But I think this is going to be, something of an extended feud with everybody going on so far, and continuation of what we've seen the past couple of weeks and now months. I think at SummerSlam we'll kind of get the story is building slowly, and as we keep going, we'll learn more and more about it. And these will kind of be like the throughout. This is what I said before. Like, it's the main guys all revolving around fighting similar people, and this is just going to continue to do that. So I think Seth wins not clean, and they just continue their feud later on down the line. Moving on, we'll do Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy Uso for the United States title. I think here's where we're going to see Solo retain. I think his first title defense, he's not going to lose. I think there's interference, but I do think that we see Jacob Fatu come out and interfere. But then he'll get beat down. Jimmy will try to come in and help him. He'll get beat down. And we'll see Jay come back to help his brother. And that'll set up like the three. That'll be like the tag team going forward. Will be Fatu, Jimmy, and Jay against Fatu, Mateo, and maybe Tamatanga or the other guy. Forgetting his name right now, but I probably should have researched it. But I think Solo wins. End of the day, it's relatively clean. I mean, I think Jimmy will. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a fine match. I don't think it'd be anything too crazy. I just don't see. I don't see Jimmy winning the title here. I think it stays on Solo. I think they'll continue. I think we'll get Fatu and Solo at SummerSlam. Then maybe we'll get the Usos back as a tag team. I think that's been kind of floated around. We'll see if that comes to fruition again. We'll see. I do think Jay comes in to save Jimmy, though. I think that is what they're going to probably move Jimmy or Jay off of like kind of the set. I mean, he could stay with Seth and Cody. I think it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if that happened, and he's still in that picture. But I think him coming back and reforming the Usos with Jimmy makes a lot of sense and gives a good kick to the tag team division, which it desperately needed. So I don't mind it. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fine. But we'll see. I think there's a route where Jay comes back. There's a route where Jay doesn't come back. I like the route where Jay reforms with Jimmy again. They go back to being a great tag team. I think Jay's kind of run his course as a singles competitor. I think he's still really talented and really good. but I think there's only so much you can do with that character and so many people he can fight. And I think it's a good run. It was a decent run, but I think it's kind of run its course a little bit. I think this is a good chance to kind of put him back with Jimmy and have them kind of reform and remake the Tekken division really good again. Just because the Tekken division has been so weak recently. But going back to the match, I think Solo wins. I think relatively safe match. We move on. Then we'll get Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Kind of like this is part of the problem. It really just kind of feels like a match thrown together at the last minute. I mean, Randy and Drew have been working it for a while. These two they can make a match happen in a week and sell you on it. I mean, I think Drew has to win. It's his first really premier match back since he lost to Priest. I think it makes more sense that he come back and win. I, it sucks giving Randy back-to-back losses, but I think we're kind of starting to build out a new Randy character like that. And I think Randy's gonna be Randy. He's gonna be fine. He'll be over, and he'll continue to be Randy. You can't like even if Randy loses, he's still gonna be Randy. I think Drew needs it more right now, which is crazy to say because speaking of Randy's been on a losing streak. I think Drew definitely needs it to rebuild himself and kind of re-enter the title picture. But I think Drew winning, I don't know. I think it could be fun if it's like a really, really like brutal victory for Drew just to reestablish himself as like this big dominant guy, and remake himself as a top guy by beating Randy. But yeah, I think the match is going to be great. These two are going to put on a great match. I don't know how long it'll be. This is a pretty small Saturday Night Main Event card. Usually it's about 3 or 4 matches anyway, but this is relatively small, all things considered. So we'll see how long they get, time wise. But I don't hate it. These two are going to be great together. These two are fantastic together either way. And I think overall it's going to be a fun match. I do think Drew wins. I think Drew kind of is going to be more towards the title scene, especially later on, maybe after SummerSlam. I think setting him up now is what's really important. I don't know if he might fight somebody at SummerSlam. He might fight Randy at SummerSlam. I can see that happening. But we'll see. I definitely think this is could be the first of a series between Randy and Drew, or it could be a one and done, and both of them move on from this. We'll see. But it should be a great match. Should be fun. I think Drew wins, and I think Randy will be fine. He'll find something else to do, and Drew will move on to like some type of bigger scene, maybe a clash, probably. Um, and then probably main eventing, uh, Gunther versus Goldberg. Now I will say, obviously, it's Goldberg. Okay, I'm not expecting a 15-minute masterclass. I'm expecting a 10-minute masterclass. I'm barely expecting a 5-minute match. If Goldberg goes more than 5 minutes with Gunther, I will be very surprised. Very. I do think this is his retirement match. It's in Atlanta. It's his hometown. Makes sense. I do think he's not going to win. I do think Gunther will be the one to stand out and retire Goldberg relatively easily. I think Goldberg hit a spear, hit a jackhammer or two. Gunther will kick out. He'll sell some type of injury, and then Gunther will win. It's going to be a fast match. It's going to end the show very quickly. It's not going to be a good match. As much as talented and as great and as good as Gunther is, this match is not going to be that thrilling to watch in terms of a pure wrestling standpoint. But I mean, look, Goldberg's Goldberg. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a spear, a jackhammer, a spear, and a jackhammer, and maybe a slam. Maybe. I don't. I think this is his last match. I think he'll go out. He'll go out. Gunther will retire him, and we'll move on. This isn't a great Saturday Night Main Event card. It really isn't. But it is fairly fine. Fairly fine. So look, I don't have big expectations for this one. I think this suffers from the fact that there's too many of these going around that there's no real excitement or build towards any of these matches. Gunther and Goldberg have been doing something for a while in the segments that's been pretty cool to see. Gunther's been killing it on promos like he always does. LA Knight and Seth have been going for a while. That's been pretty fun, pretty good to see. Um, but then Solo and Jimmy just feels like it kind of has been moving meanderingly, slowly. And then Randy and Drew just kind of feels like they've been thrown together at the last minute. So it is what it is. But my official predictions: Seth beats LA Knight with interference. Solo beats Jimmy with interference. Um, Drew beats Randy clean, and then Gunther beats uh, Goldberg in his retirement match. So that's my predictions.